All right, well, hey everybody. Good morning. Dr. Bulow here with Revive Upper Cervical Chiropractic in Cranberry, and obviously on behalf of the ACT interviews. And today I'm hanging out with TJ. Welcome, TJ.
Thank you.
I've gotten to know TJ here, I don't know, last 6-8 months.
Actually, it's probably been about exactly a year now.
Has it been?
Right,
Yeah.
right before the whole.
Before the
can't
pandemic.
see people.
Yeah.
Right.
I met TJ through a community group called Am Spirit, which if you own a local business owner, or if you own a local business or service, we'd love to talk to you about that. Let me know. But it's a referral group that we now meet virtually, and we talk about business and things. And TJ has been running his business of Bellotti Home Cleaning Services for how long? No, he won't
About
say.
28 years.
He's experienced. He's experienced. And so you recently were sharing about your backstory in our Zoom meetings, and I thought, you know what, we've got to do one of our Around Cranberry Township interviews, because this is the forum, if you're new to us, this is the forum where we like to connect you to your community. And in particular, man, we've got so many long-standing great businesses in the region and just some little gems. And Pittsburgh and Cranberry is just such a growing area that I wanted to introduce people that are new to the area to some of those really cool businesses and whatnot. So give everyone the nutshell, the 60-second on what you do.
So we're a full-service cleaning company, all things residential. So we have a maid service, window cleaning, pressure washing, exterior home soft wash, which is cleaning the outside of the house, and gutter cleaning. So it's anything that has to do with a home. We either do it in-house, or for things like carpet cleaning, we have companies we subcontract to.
Yeah.
One of our biggest package programs is called Pittsburgh Market Ready. It is a package service that gets houses ready for market.
Got it.
So if you're getting ready to sell your home and the realtor says, well, the outside needs a little freshen up, your gutters are running over, and the driveway needs pressure washed, they can contact us. We can take care of all of that at one time and get the house ready to sell. So through Pittsburgh Market Ready, we not only do the cleaning, but we also do staging and videography for the online portion of the ad.
Yeah, and it's such a competitive market now in terms of
especially now.
Yeah, even just trying to find a home and things like that. So one of the things, and I appreciate that, I love that, and actually we had someone ask TJ about how they partner with realtors and things like that. So we're already getting a clue with that. One of the things that I'm personally most motivated by, and full disclosure, this was a selfish endeavor in the beginning because I like to get to know people, is I always like to find out kind of like how you got started in this world.
Oh man,
I know it's a long story.
It's not. I can make it short.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not that it's long. It's just that it's an odd entry. So way back, I always expected.
You're from this region, right?
I'm from Avonworth.
Got it.
So down off of Camp Horn Road.
Sure.
Back at 13 years old, I had a paper route. I always expected I'd own my own business. So when I went to college, I went for accounting and marketing because that made the most sense for owning your own business, to have that education. After college, I worked in the real world for 2 years and did not like it. Mm-hmm. And between Thanksgiving and Christmas in 1992, I resigned from my financial analyst job and decided I was going to start my own business. So I sat down with a legal pad to write down all the ideas I had, and I had none. So after I couldn't figure out which business, I decided to write down what things I enjoy, what I wanted out of a business. I wanted to be physical. I wanted to be out and about. I didn't want to be stuck in an office. I didn't want to wear a shirt and tie anymore. I liked people, but for short periods of time, not necessarily 40 years in the same office.
Yeah.
So after I made my list, I still had no idea what I was going to do. So I started to think back, and I thought, well, what did I like to do as a kid? Now, mind you, I'm only 22 at this point, 23, so I thought I was an adult. But I thought, what did I like to do as a kid? And the only thing that kept popping back into my brain time after time was I used to love, I had to clean my own room as a kid, and I used to love when I finished cleaning my room, when I turned around to shut off the lights, those perfect little lines in the carpet. That's all that kept coming back to my brain. And I thought, well, that's a cleaning company. I'm not going to start a cleaning company. And then I realized that it checked off every one of those boxes on my list. Something. So that's actually how I got into cleaning.
That's really interesting. So did you start in the carpet cleaning world?
No. We started out as an apartment cleaning company.
Got it.
And the reason why I started out in apartment cleaning is because I lived in an apartment complex.
There you go.
So I knew I could distribute flyers to all 500 units and maybe get a client or two.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of the origin. The very first thing was apartment cleaning.
So now fast forward to now, how does your products and servicing kind of break down in terms of the demographics of the types of clients that you have? How many would you say are external versus internal, corporate versus residential?
So right now we're probably 75% maid service, and that is because we've been maid service since day one. We really only started adding the additional services probably about 5 years ago because of market demand.
Sure.
We were doing 400, 500, 600 jobs a month, and those clients would say, hey, I need a window cleaning company.
Got it.
And instead of continuing to refer them out, we decided, well, let's get into this ourselves.
Sure.
So not only did we have a large client base, we started adding more and more services to that market.
Sure, that makes sense. When you look back in those early years, and even kind of, I guess, all the way through, it kind of goes along with one of my last questions, which is kind of like why you keep coming back to this industry, why you love it, what keeps you motivated. But before we get there, who would you say are like the clients that are some of your favorite stories? Like whether in our, in the business world, we might call it the target market or the ideal client. But what are some of your favorite stories and kind of feel-good stories of the last bit of time?
There's probably 2 or 3 that jump out. One is our very first client. That first client I got as an apartment complex, as an apartment client in the same apartment complex I lived in. It was a small studio apartment, very small, smaller than mine. Mm-hmm. And he was a single guy. Whenever I showed up to actually clean the first time, he had golf photos all over the walls, which I golf, so that there's immediately a connection. That was in 1992. Mm-hmm. To this day, I still get work from that same client 28 years later. Now, he went from a studio apartment to a very nice townhouse to a very large home. So I got to watch him and his business grow, and he and I got to grow together. So that's one of my favorite parts of as far as client stories.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Another one is, and this is a story I explained to all of our employees, is we had a client, their youngest child was, I think, 5 or 6 whenever we became their cleaning company. Mm-hmm. So they were all Penn State attendees. The mom and dad were Penn State attendees. All the kids went to Penn State. When that 5-year-old graduated from Penn State just a couple years ago is when they stopped using us as a service. So we grew with this family for, that's 18 years. Mm-hmm. The client found out the first time I dated my now wife, because whenever I'd go to the house, we'd talk about our personal lives and how are things, how are the kids, what are you doing these days? So she heard about our first date. She met my wife whenever she came along with me one time. I got to watch their kids grow and them end up with grandkids. So that's what we like to build. We want that relationship.
Sure.
Because that's what we're in people's sanctuary.
Yeah.
Their home is their sanctuary. So we want to make sure we're building that relationship with them because we're there in their house.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting statement there. Their home is their sanctuary. Where do you get that from? What does that mean to you?
Well, all of us, whenever we have a bad day at work, we can't wait to get home because that's where we can kind of push that stuff to the side a little bit. It's where we got the puppy. It's where our child was born. It's where we heard the bad news about a friend while we were talking to him on the telephone. All those things happen in our home. So to our clients, their house is their home. There's a difference between those two words. To us, we run the danger of just seeing that as a work site. As we walk in to do our work, we just see it as a place to work. But what we have to remember is that's somebody's sanctuary. That's their place of security. Mm-hmm. So they're trusting us to come into their place of security. So we have to respect that trust by making sure we honor it.
That's awesome. That's really, really great. And that's kind of like some of those things that like I think are important for people to understand how you approach your industry, how you take care of them, things like that. What are some other maybe are there any misunderstandings or things that people get wrong about the industry that I think it's important to understand?
It's kind of funny because early on, my brother and I are partners in the business, and early on we wanted the business to be run professionally. We wanted it to be we wanted to be run as a business.
Sure.
All the systems that a successful business follows, but we wanted it to feel like a mom and pop shop. So behind the scenes, everything we do is very systematic.
Sure.
Everything's above board, insurance, workers' comp, all of those things. But we want to make sure that we're communicating with our clients on that personal basis.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's one of the keys for us as far as growth and being around for so long. But some of the misconception is it's a cleaning company. So that's not one of those things that a lot of people say to the kids, well, I hope you grow up to work for or own a cleaning company. But at the end of the day, the people that we have working with us in people's homes are very respectful. They build that interpersonal relationship with that client. They are the face of our business because that's who the client sees. So one of the things that we have each of the girls do or guys do when they're in a home is they leave a note every single time they're at the house to say, hey, we were here today, everything went great, your dog chased me around the house, I found this earring under the couch. So that little note, all it is a little note. That is what builds that relationship between that client and that employee. Because then that client comes home and they say, oh, Tiffany was here today. She did a great job. I'm going to make sure I leave her a couple extra bucks next time as a tip. Because they start to build that friendship, that interaction. So the misconception is that this, as in any other business, can be as professional and should be as professional. In fact, in my opinion, it should be more professional in certain ways because, again, we're in somebody's home.
Yeah.
So especially these days, pre-COVID, we would have clients that we had access to their house through a garage code. We have alarm codes. That's a lot of responsibility.
Sure.
So if we take that seriously, the client's going to appreciate that and see the difference in that professional business.
Absolutely. And I think it all started back, for me anyhow, with Mike Rowe and Dirty Jobs, that show Dirty Jobs.
Absolutely.
And I think he's really brought to light just the respect and dignity of service trades, where somewhere along the lines everyone got caught up in .coms and internet business at cafes and all these different things, when it's sort of like the world runs and revolves around a lot of trades and industries and service professionals, and there's no reason they can't be just as, I mean, you if you really wanted to, you could have a shirt and tie, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
That's not owned by someone with a 4 or 8 year degree. It's like anyone can have a shirt and tie, and you can be just as professional, just as high touch. Okay, here's another fun thing I always like to do. I always like to get kind of like insights. So it might sound almost like below your pay grade, but I'm curious if you've observed do you have any insider secrets, any insider tips for people that are trying to either, maybe there's something that's broken, maybe there's something that's just, they don't know how to manage something specific to you. Maybe it's gutters, maybe it's just insider tips that are easy ways that people could manage their own things. What I found, like for me in my world, is if someone, say for example, wants to know how to stretch their neck or their back or how to manage migraine headaches or things like that, at first it's kind of like this threatening thing, like, oh gosh, I'm gonna lose business by giving away my deep secrets. And the reality is everybody needs professional help at a point, and like we talked about Gary Vaynerchuk and all the rest. So I'm curious, in your world, what is that? What are some what are we missing? The average person who says, oh, I like cleaning my house, but they may be like missing the most obvious tool or the most obvious resource to do it that much better. You know, any insider tips or things you've come across that said, oh gosh, yeah, no, this was an awesome find.
a couple actually. One, first of all, let the cleaner do the work.
There you go.
When I say the cleaner, I mean the actual cleaning product you're using, not elbow grease. The cleaners do 80% of the work for us. And second is maintenance. So for the utility stuff, when I say utility cleaning, that's the non-maid services that we offer. So the window cleaning, pressure washer, gutter cleaning.
Got it.
If you're not doing those maintenance things regularly, you're going to end up with a problem that's going to be way more expensive. So, for example, gutter cleaning. Gutters are one of the most overlooked pieces of a house because there's nothing exciting about them. They're white. Every house has them.
You don't see
them.
Yeah.
So gutters remove water from our house. Water is one of the most dangerous elements for our home. So if those gutters become clogged or they're not functioning properly, you're going to end up with water issues that are going to be way more expensive than a once or twice a year gutter cleaning.
Yeah.
Algae on the outside of your house. It reduces the visual appeal of the house because your house has this green-black stuff all over it, which we can have done in a few hours. It's gone and your house looks much fresher. So the two things are let the cleaner do the work and make sure you do the maintenance on the house.
Well, what kind of cleaner though? There's so many products. I don't know what I'm getting. There's like a million there. Are they all the same? Are they all created equal, or some a little better than others?
At the end of the day, there's only a couple.
Oh, really?
Glass cleaner for glass. You need an all-purpose cleaner for surfaces, and a disinfectant to disinfect.
Got it. So
other than that, those 3 or 4 things are going to clean everything.
And as long as you have those 3 categories, and within those umbrellas, you're good.
Yes.
But just get the appropriate category for the appropriate job.
Right.
Love it. See, I love it. I like this stuff. Learning.
Yep. That's right.
All right. Well, in a minute, we're going to give TJ the last word. I have my last question for him, and if you guys, but I always want to remind folks that if you have questions, whether you're watching live or you're watching the playback, please do comment, and we will do that. Also, I talked to TJ about I am going to get a certificate from TJ. He's going to double it. He's going to match it, and so the way you win this game, right? I'm going to put it in the description, but keep in mind, all you have to do is tag a friend, right? Then follow the link, enter in your information, and you and your friend could win a couple gift cards to Bellotti Home Cleaning Services, which is pretty cool, pretty awesome, just for being a part of the Around Cranberry community and hanging out with us today, okay? But yeah, like I said, if you have questions, ask after the fact. I'm sure TJ will come on
absolutely
and answer them and connect with you. Obviously, if you know someone who could use these services, please do tag them and get them in touch with TJ. So my last question, and I have the last word here, TJ, is, and we kind of talked about it already, but it might come from a different context here, is that what is it that keeps you going now? You've built those relationships. You've done what you've done. And for all of us that are in entrepreneurship, we know that it's not easy, right? This is an ongoing, it's like health. You can't coast. You're always working towards it. So what keeps you doing that on a day-to-day, week-to-week sort of basis? What do you like most about it?
It's a really good question, primarily because of where we are currently in history. Because over the last 12 months, I think anybody that's owned their own business has asked themselves that probably 12 times. Because it is, getting through these times this is the hard part. Whenever you make it through these types of situations that we're going through. But that's just a current situation. Whenever you've been doing this for 20, way too many years, you look back and you realize how many things you have made it through. And that's part of the appeal to me personally, is I don't mind the rough spots, but what keeps me coming back with this particular business is I love the relationships, and it still goes back to that list I made on that legal pad in 1992. It clicks off all of those things that I enjoy. Sure. I like to be out and about. I like to be physical. My brother and I are still on jobs almost every day. We don't sit on the golf course or sit at the office with our feet on the desk. We are out constantly doing the work that we do. And I also like the fact that we're able to employ a good number of people and provide them with a really nice work environment. And whenever we interview somebody, we tell them, it's a great industry to be in because we work in beautiful homes. In the summer, they're air conditioned. In the winter, they're heated. And 95% of the people are awesome. Yeah. And they really do enjoy the interaction. So those are all just little pieces that add up to what I like about it. And on top of that, I like the fact that we're able to try something at the drop of a hat. If my brother calls me and says, hey, let's try this, by the time we hang up the phone, it's the done deal. That's our corporate meeting for the month. It was a phone call that we shot out an idea, and we're going to give it a whirl and see if it works. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, we try the next thing.
There you go.
So it fills a whole lot of little pieces of the things that I enjoy to do.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate it, TJ. I am going to give you the last word. Once again, just want to thank everybody, though, for watching. Please do ask questions on there. Share it. You never know who could use TJ's services. TJ, any last words for the community?
Just a few. We actually have grown with Cranberry. Oddly, whenever we first started, 228 was not much of a road.
Yeah,
it was a smaller road with very few things on it. And this whole area is actually how we grew through the late 90s and early 2000s with this particular area. Now, we do about a 40-mile radius of downtown Pittsburgh, so we travel in a very large area, but the bulk of our client list is up in this general vicinity. So anyone that needs maid service, window cleaning, pressure washing, exterior home soft wash, or gutter cleaning, give us a call.
Fantastic. Thanks, TJ.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you around. Bye now.